Okay, welcome everyone. Just a couple more just coming in here. We'll get started in about 30 seconds. You guys. So welcome all to the pre-race briefing for the 2024 St. Albert Kids of Steel. It looks like it's going to be a good day tomorrow. Might be a little chilly in the morning, so make sure you dress for the cold weather. But there will be, it'll get a little warmer as the morning goes. I'm going to go through, what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to go through what to expect on race day, and kind of what to do and just little things to think about. My name is James, I'm the race director. This is the first year I'm race directing for the Kids of Steel. I did direct the St. Albert Triathlon back in 2012 and 2013. It was a qualifier for the World Championships, which were in Edmonton in 2014. I've raced triathlon since I was in grade 9. I did this race when I was in grade 10, so that was like 30 years ago. And this race had been around for 7 or 8 years before I did it. Last year they said it was the 30th anniversary, but it's been around for a lot longer than that. I've been a sponsor of this race for 24 years, and I've volunteered for this race for the past 24 years. So I'm familiar with it. But like I said, it's my first year race directing this race. So I've done a little bit of learning some of the intricacies of it, but happy to answer any questions that you might have. So now before we start, there was one error in the race package I sent out, specifically for the 10 and 11-year-old swim, and it's 150 meters. So that's the only error I caught. I was just recycling some of the stuff from previous years, and so that was it was 150 in some places and then 200 on that, so it's 150, so I apologize for that. Your start lists, your start heats, your time on deck, your race numbers, you'll all find that out at package pickup when you pick up your race t-shirt. And it's also posted online right now. So if you go into the website, it's right on our homepage, it's the bottom box, 2024 start list. And I'll just some fun stuff. I'll ask some questions. I'll ask you for any questions you have first, but just some fun stuff. Just the theme we went with this year. So I don't know. Does anybody recognize this logo? We tried to go with like an Ironman theme for the Ironman triathlon, but Marvel Ironman. We had to change it a little bit for copyright. But all the race medals. So the finishers, every finisher, so if you finish the race, you get one of these. So that's pretty cool. And then the podium medals are similar. They're just an antique. So gold, silver, bronze there, kind of thing. Okay, so I'll just ask your questions. I won't answer them because I'll answer them through the briefing. We're going to be quick. It'll probably be 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then you're all welcome to head out. But does anyone have any questions? I'd like to hear some questions just to make sure I hit them during the thing. Go ahead.
Now it's 150 meters and not 200 meters?
The swim for the 10 and 11 age group is 150 meters.
So how many laps?
It's a 25-meter pool, so it'd be 6 laps. There and back. If you count a lap as just there, then you come back, that's 2 laps, 3, 4, so 150 meters.
I have do they change out after the swim? Like, is there time for them to change it to like biking and running clothes, or it's expected they just put something over their bodies?
Great question. So the question was, do they change after the swim? And it's really up to you. So I've seen some crazy stuff over the years. I've seen parents pinning on race numbers in transition after the swim, Most people would do that before the race, pin the numbers onto the race shirt. You know, I've seen people go in and have a shower and soap off, shampoo and towel off, and then get into their bike stuff and go. The majority of people, and it's purely up to you, it's up to every racer. But what most people do, they're sopping wet, they're running out, you're feeling the burn from the swim, your arms are screaming a little bit, you run into your bike, you put your helmet on first, your helmet strap. You're not allowed to take your bike out of the wrap until your strap is done up on your helmet, and then you'll want to get your shoes on first. If you are wearing a t-shirt, most females will just wear their bathing suit. But if you want to put a t-shirt on, put it on before your helmet. A lot of athletes will just put on their runners, but if you want to put on socks, put them on before your runners. And then you can, if your helmet strap's done up, then you can take your bike out and you can walk, or you can even run your bike, but you're not allowed to ride your bike at all in the transition area. One small change from last year, we're changing the mount line. So as you come out, so this is a small transition area. Here's the pool, here's the parking lot. You'll come out, the mountain line was right on the corner, right on the edge of the parking lot last year as you came out and onto the street. We're gonna push it down a little further on the street so it's not right on the corner. It's not right on that hard 90-degree angle. So you just take a few more steps. There'll be a mount line and you have to mount your bike after that mount line. If you mount your bike before the mount line, that's a penalty. Yeah. Okay, so that's the changing and stuff. Yes?
Sorry, and with that, for the kids who haven't done it before, or the younger kids, are there people to help them? Do we come out and help them?
So that's another good question. So we'll have, if you're in the 7 and under age group, you're allowed one person in transition to help them. And they're only allowed to help them in transition. So once they get out on the bike course, you cannot be on the bike course. You could be on the sidewalks. Some parents run along the sidewalks. My daughter 1 year rolled the bike. She was stubborn and she rolled the bike like this on purpose. Like this. It took her like an hour to do the one lap. She did it, but so we just you could grab a lawn chair and sit and take 5 steps, whatever. But you're allowed to walk on the sidewalk, but you're not allowed on the street. Where the racers are. We don't want any pedestrians on the road. You'll notice you saw a lot of the ATS signs around the course. We're going to turn those around. We have to wait till 2 o'clock today, City. The city has said 2 o'clock we can turn them around so there are no parking signs. And on the run course, you're not allowed to pace your athlete. So theoretically, you're not allowed to run beside them. But you can cheer them on and yell and scream and encouragement. And the little kids, they're running just a little loop. Their bike is just a little loop. It's all pretty much all on the trails, the little kid's bike. But we will have volunteers. We've got, we've hired marshals and flaggers for where there's intersections through Alberta Traffic Safety. The whole route is going to be pyloned, and you saw some of the stuff already, some of the road signal changes. And then we've got volunteers all along the run route, and we've got 2 rovers on the run route who will be on their bikes. There'll be no other bikes allowed on the run trail, but they'll be marked as marshals with, it'll say bike captain, and they'll have a red or a fluorescent vest on. Yes?
How many girls are in the ages 10 to 11?
I don't know, but I know the race. The race is sold out. We have 200 athletes doing it. The start list is posted on the main page of our website. So if you go right on the front page, it's the bottom box. It says 2024 start list. You can see your heat number, your time on deck, that sort of stuff. Yes.
For U7, would I be able to watch Transpool and still make it to transition, or should I just wait for in transition?
Oh yeah, for sure. So if you know the Grosvenor Pool, which is right here, it's fenced, and if you stand on the fence, because we're not allowing any parents in the pool area. So they'll be for the little kids. We'll have the Gators, which is the St. Albert Triathlon Club. The older athletes will be in the water with the kids to make sure it's fun for everybody. And the little kids, they're allowed to use a flutterboard, water wings, a PFD, whatever, and they can swim with that if they want. They don't need anything. They don't have to have anything though if they're comfortable with that. But there'll be people. Our athletes will be in the water with them, and you'll be able to see the best place to stand is kind of along that fence area, and the fence separates essentially. There's a little sidewalk, and then transitions in the parking lot. So if you stand on that fence, you'll be able to see them swim. You'll be able to see them run out. They're going to run out right here. This end of the pool, you can see there's like that green AstroTurf there and barricades. They'll run kind of around there and then back into the parking lot, and they'll do their stuff, and then they can run their bike out.
Sorry.
Yeah.
What if someone like, I have a little guy who's out here, but if he falls and hurts himself and starts crying, still we can't run out, someone's there? Okay. I just
No, yeah, they'll have volunteers in transition, and we have medical help in transition. If they're it's 7 and under.
Yeah.
So you're allowed one parent in with them in transition. Yeah, and kids fall. There's going to be a little bit of scrapes and bruises, maybe a little bit of blood, and that's okay. And we've got medical professionals. We've got a couple doctors who are volunteers. I'm a physiotherapist. We've got paramedics. So things are taken care of. And if there is a problem, we can pull them off to the side, and mom and dad can come and help. But we don't want other people coming into transition. There's just a lot of athletes. So okay. So I'm going to start. I'll still answer lots of questions, but I'm going to start just to give you a sense of race day. You're going to pick up your package. You see what your race time is. For the little kids, you're going to show up. You can show up as early as 6:30. We're opening transition. It's first come, first serve for the bike racks. We'll have bike racks for everybody. Will get their own little slot. The little kids are going to use the wooden bike racks, and there's 4 slots per bike rack. And then the older kids, if you're 12 and over, and we might switch it to 10 and over, but the 12 and over are going to use the metal bike racks where you hang your bike by your seat on the metal bar. But the wooden bike racks, you just put your back wheel in, or your front wheel. So they'll be there. So first come, first serve for the bike racks, but they will be divided also into age divisions. If you don't want to get there at 6:30, you're welcome to come at 7:25. Transition will close at 7:30 for the younger age groups, and the older age groups we're keeping transitional. It'll be open from 7:30 to 8:30. And so we know that for the older age group, because they are in transition. It'll only be athletes in transition at that time after 7:30. We've allowed the older racers to stay in transition till 8:30, even though the race starts at 8. And the reasoning for that is because the older kids, they don't start till a bit later. We did want to get them a little bit more sleep, but we were okay with that because the younger kids might have a parent going with them too. But the kids will know to keep the lanes clear. So you'll set up your bike. You're restricted to basically about this much space. If you take a bath towel and you fold it in half, that's the amount of space you've got in transition. So even though and it's right where your bike is, so you don't want to take over, the whole area. We don't allow boxes or bins or things like that in transition. So it's just you can lay a towel down there if you want. Most people will have their shoes ready to go. Lay the socks on top of the shoes if you're wearing socks. Your t-shirt if you're throwing on a t-shirt. There are no race numbers, bibs that will be pinned on. You'll have body marks. So you set a transition and then you put your helmet down there, or some people put their helmet on their bike. and then your transition set, ready to go. And make sure your bike is in an easy gear, because when you first get on your bike, you don't want to be riding like my daughter did, and you're so slow. You make it in easy gear, so once you get on your bike, you can kind of spin and change your gears and go. So after you've set up your transition area, you can go and get body marked. And so body marking, all athletes have to be body marked. And so you'll come down here and we'll have our body markers down here, and with a marker, they're gonna mark your number on your arm and on your leg. And that's so we can see you throughout the race, and we know where you're at, who you are, and we can announce you as you come into the finish line. Okay, so after body marking, then you can cheer on the other athletes that are going, and you're going to wait till your on deck time. Then you're going to make sure you've got everything you need for the swim. So if you want to wear a swim cap, make sure you have a swim cap. If you want goggles, make sure you have your goggles. If you want a nose plug or earplugs or anything like that, you make sure you've got all that with you. You're going to go on deck and into marshalling, and the swim volunteers are going to grab each heat, and you're going to get your timing chip. You're going to put your timing chip around your ankle, and make sure it's secure, because if you lose your timing chip, you don't get a time, which means, as far as we're concerned, you didn't race, or you didn't finish a certain part. If you lose it in the pool and it's gone off your ankle, if you don't have your timing chip when you go in transition, we're going to consider that you have not even gone onto the bike. So you need your timing chip. So if you lose it at some other point, say it falls off you on the bike, you've got to stop your bike, put the timing chip back on, and it's a little strap around your ankle. And it is very secure, and same thing on the run. So it's very rare that it falls off, but if it does fall off, you put it back on. It's just a little Velcro strap. Yes?
For the use of these, do they have to bring their flutterboards, or can they use the pool?
They can use the pool flutterboards if they want to use a flutterboard. Yeah. Okay, so now you've got your chip and you're waiting for your start time. So we're going to start the athletes in the lanes. In some of the heats, we've only got 2 athletes per lane. In other heats, we've got 4 athletes per lane, and they'll start 5 seconds apart, and that'll be your chip time. So that your time starts when you cross the mat to get in the pool. So if someone starts 20 seconds in front of you, their time starts 20 seconds before yours. And then we'll have, and then your time will stop when you cross the finish line. So it's all electronic, and so our computers are taking care of all the results, and then we post the results about 30 minutes after the last competitor's finished. We'll post them on Zone 4, and then a few hours after that, there'll be a link on our website from our website to Zone 4. But you can hop on Zone 4 and see the results right away, and they'll be boom, boom, boom.
Does the time start when they get in the pool and not stop until they're done the run, or
That's
it
correct.
stops in the transition?
Yeah, it's a total running time. So you'll see a swim time, which the swim time will include just their swim until they cross the mat of the pool. Their bike time starts when they cross that mat and enter transition.
Okay.
Then they'll do the bike course, and then they'll come back in, and I'll talk about that, and then they'll cross the timing mat as they leave transition to start the run, and that's their bike time. Their bike time includes both transitions, and then their run is from the start of the run to the finish line, and it's running the whole time. So transitions matter. So if you want to take that shower, we're timing you. We're timing you how fast you can shower. Okay, so now you're in you're swimming. You've started, so you're swimming your laps. We will have lap counters, but it's good to count your own laps if you can, so know how many laps you're going to do. The starters, when you've got just there and back left to go, the lap counters will dip in a flutterboard, and that means you've just got 50 meters left to go. So we'll dip the flutterboard in as you're coming to the wall, and if you see that flutterboard, you know, oh, I've got to go there and back, and that's it. Then I'm done. Okay, but it's still good to keep track of your laps yourself. And then as soon as you're done, no one's going to tell you to get out of the pool And some swimmers do an extra lap, so make sure you count your laps. And but when when you're done, you get out of the pool, you climb out, and then you're gonna walk on deck. You can walk quickly though, but you're gonna walk on deck. And then as soon as you get out of the deck, right out here, and you pass that green AstroTurf, then you can run if you want. And you're running to your bike, and that's where you'll put on your socks, your shirt, shorts if you want, then your shoes, your helmet, do up your helmet strap. As soon as your helmet strap's done up, you're allowed to take your bike out, and you can run your bike, and you're not allowed to ride your bike. Even before the race, you cannot ride your bike in transition. You have to walk your bike always in transition. Before the race, during the race, even after the race is over, you cannot ride your bike into the transition area. And if you do, this is another interesting thing. There's a 1 week, and this isn't just an Alberta Triathlon rule. It's an International Triathlon Union rule. If you're seen riding your bike without a helmet at any time within 7 days of the race, you're disqualified from the race. So you have to wear your helmet if you're riding the bike. So if you park far away and then you ride your bike to the race, which is great, you have to have your helmet on. It's also a law in St. Albert for everybody. In Edmonton, it's just U18, but everybody has to wear a helmet when they're riding their bike in St. Albert. So yeah, you got your helmet strapped in, you're running your bike. As I said, the mountain line is going to be a little further on the road this time. It's going to be about 4 or 5 feet past the parking lot. You run up to that mountain line, and you can stop, or keep running with your bike and hop on while it's going, or you can stop, get on your bike, and then start pedaling. Okay, and then you're going to do the bike course. And as I said, our bike course is marked. This is our bike course here. This is just the little kids route, that red one, and then we've got the big lap. And there's some hills on there, but we'll have volunteers. It's pyloned. And we don't want any pedestrians on the road during the bike. If you're slower, so a couple things about the bike. If you're a little slower, try to stay more to the right-hand side. If you're a little quicker and you're making a pass, make sure you're about this far away from the cyclist as you're passing them. For the older kids, there is a drafting rule in effect. And does everyone know about how long a city bus is? You know how big a city bus is? That's the drafting rule. So you can't be within that distance behind somebody, the length of a bus, unless you're passing them. Okay? And so if you're passing them, you've got about 20 seconds to make that pass, and you have to be about this far beside them or more when you're passing them. And then once you're passing them, you make the pass on the left-hand side, and then you can move over to the right once you pass them. And then if you've been passed by somebody, you have to drop back the length of the city bus. Okay? If you stay riding on their wheel, you get a drafting penalty, which is 3 minutes. Okay? Okay, any questions about the bike? Yes?
They have swim caps and goggles. Are they just leaving them in the transition?
Yes.
And have to pick them up later?
Yes. Yeah, so you'll leave your swim caps and goggles in transition. Yeah, so you don't have to ride the bike with them. Yeah, leave them in transition and you can get them after, for sure. Swim cap, goggles, anything like that. Yeah. Yes?
Do you have to wear running shoes?
As opposed to,
Like Crocs?
I don't believe there's a rule on that. You'd probably be more comfortable in runners, probably, but I don't believe there's a rule against wearing Crocs. Yeah.
For the transition into the bike when you're not allowed to be riding it, what's the penalty for that if you do that?
Run your bike?
Yeah, if you ride on it, you're supposed to be riding it.
Oh, if you ride your bike in transition?
Yeah.
That's a full disqualification.
Oh.
In transition, yeah. If you ride your bike in transition, even before the race, even after the race is done and you're picking up your bike and you ride it on transition, you're disqualified from the race. You cannot ride your bike in transition. Yeah. Okay. Now, You come back in from the bike course. Now the bike course, one other change we're making is we're making the bike in and the bike out of transition a little bit wider. So that means if you're doing 2 laps or 3 laps on the bike course, know that the lap, if you're going to do a lap, you're going to be on the left side. So you're riding your bike, it'll be right on this road here. Riding your bike, you're going to stay more on the left side of the road if you're doing a lap. If you're coming into transition, you're going to be on the right side. We're going to have a wider area, and there's going to be more cones this year in and out of transition, just to give the people coming in and out of transition a little more space. So as you come in and you're finished your bike, you counted your laps. If for some reason you have to do 2 laps and you only do 1, again, you're not going to get a time to finish. Your official time would be do not finish. So you got to make sure you do as many laps as your age group says for the bike. And so when you're coming in and you finish your bike, you're going to come in where the pylons are coming into transition. There's going to be a dismount line before the parking lot, about 4 feet before the parking lot. Be a chalk line there, and you have to hop off your bike before that line. Because if you're riding after that line, you're now in transition area and you're riding your bike, which is not good, right? So you hop off your bike at that mount line or before the mount line, and you get off your bike and you keep your helmet on. The helmet has to stay on, and you run your bike back to your transition area, and you stick, usually it's your front wheel, into the wooden blocks. If there's a metal rack, you pop your seat on the metal rack. Once your bike is racked, you're allowed to take off your helmet. Okay, you cannot take the strap of your helmet off until your bike is racked. Then, you take your helmet off, you can put it on the ground in your space, and you have to keep all your stuff within your space. If you've got your swim cap and goggles and you're just throwing them on the road, that's a penalty. One of the transition marshals will make you pick your stuff up, and they'll give you anywhere from a 45-second penalty to a 3-minute penalty if you're spewing stuff over the place. But that'll be up to the transition marshal. And then you keep up all your stuff in that little folded over towel space if you want. Put your helmet down there. If you're wearing different shoes on the bike and you want to put new ones on for the run, you can do that. You'll put them on, and then you'll run out of transition the same way you exited for the bike. You'll stay on the sidewalk though this time, and you'll start the run course. So the run course is, you're going to go out that way, and that's right here. So this is the transition area in yellow. You're going to run out here and then onto the sidewalk, and you're going to make a right-hand turn right at the corner, and then you're going to come down here, and then you're going to run, and then the pathway starts here. And everybody's going to run on that pathway. So don't keep going on the sidewalk all the way down here. Okay, so you're going to turn onto the pathway. This is a soccer field in here. And the little kids are going to run to this corner, and there'll be marshals, and there'll be your little flags. We'll have the little colored flags. If you haven't done the race before, we have colored flags that are the color of your run route. So we've got green, pink, yellow, blue, red. I thought there was some white in there. I think one of the age groups has white also. But your route will be flagged, so you just follow your flags. For the older kids, so this is a short little run. Here's the soccer field. There's some baseball diamonds in here. Then you're going to run through on the pink. Right here, this is the edge of the trail. If you guys have done it, that's in the far end of the fields over there, the edge of that pink line. And then it goes down a pretty steep hill. And that's where the yellow starts. And in the steep hill, then you're kind of running through the trails in the woods. We've got volunteers in the woods and our roving bike. And then here at the end, so this will be 1 kilometer right here. We're going to have an aid station there. We'll have an aid station right here, also a water station. So you can grab a glass of water if you want. And then we'll have an aid station down here at the 1 kilometer mark. And this is another 500 meters here. And then another 500 meters here. So this is 2K. But if your run is 2K, you're only running to here because it's 1K here and then 1K back. And then those who are running 3K are in the blue. They're running 1.5 kilometers and then 1.5 kilometers back. And we'll have people at the turnaround telling you to turn around. And that's why we need your numbers body marked on it. And then the 4Kers, which is in 14 and 15, and then 16 to 19, are running right to the edge of that red line, and then all the way back. And then you'll see this big, that's this thing right here in the bin. It'll all be blown up. It's called a finish line gantry. We'll have some banners on it from some of our sponsors. And you'll hear the announcer, and they'll be announcing your name, because your chip will cross a mat about 100 meters before the finish line. It shows up on the computer, and they'll yell out your name and say, "You are a kid of steel." And you finish the race, and your heart's beating so fast, you're out of breath, sweating, tired, you feel like falling down, and we'll give you one of these medals at the finish line. We'll put it around your neck, and then we'll have some food at the finish line for you. Panago Pizza is one of our big sponsors, so you can grab a couple slices of pizza. That won't arrive until 10:15. So if you finish around 8:30, if you're one of the really little kids, and you want to wait around for some pizza, you're totally welcome to. So we'll have lots of pizza. We'll also have some granola bars, some fruit, and we'll have water at the finish line as well. Yes?
Can like the people who aren't doing the race have some pizza?
So that's a good question, and the answer is yes, if they're a volunteer. So if people aren't racing who are volunteers, we have 100 volunteers out on the course, and we can use it. We can use a couple more, but we've also got pizza inside here, and that pizza is sponsored by Nietzsche's Pizza, and our volunteers will be fed. Our volunteers are also fed in the morning before the race starts by McDonald's with McMuffin and coffee and that sort of stuff. So our sponsors have been quite generous for us this year. We have a couple of bikes here from Crankies that the athletes will win just as draw prizes. We're going to give these to the athletes, some of the athletes who have finished, just randomly, and those won't be awarded until the awards ceremony. So the awards will start approximately 30 minutes after the last racer. So we imagine somewhere around 11:30 to 12 is when the last racer will come in. We'll start awards. Awards will probably take 15-20 minutes because we'll have all the results, and then we'll raffle off the two bikes with just whoever raced has a chance to win the bike. There's a few other prizes out there. So the sponsors, they're on our website. I'm going to just plug a few right now. They're on the back of the t-shirt. If you have a chance to support the sponsors, we'd appreciate it. They support us, they support the community, they allow races like this to go on because there's a lot of costs to put on a race like this to ensure it's safe and fun and that the kids get some cool stuff at the end. So yeah, please support them. There is every racer and volunteer will get one of these in their package. It's from Libel Insurance. Steve Libel is a local triathlete, lives here in St. Albert. Libel Insurance is in the West End. And he's giving $1,000 just to volunteers and athletes. There'll be a $1,000 prize to anyone who calls this number. So that $1,000 is just for the Kids of Steel race. And all you have to do is call for a quote on your home or auto insurance. And one of those people who call in will be notified on July 1st that they get $1,000 off their insurance. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, Co-op and Sobeys will have fruit at the finish line. Granola bars, they're sponsoring that. All the kids have a little voucher for Forest Convenience to get a discounted kids cone, and they gave us some prizes too. So yeah, a lot of good sponsors. Yes.
What time does transition open again to get our
6:30.
at the end though to get our stuff out?
Oh, to get our stuff out.
Yeah.
That's a good question. So it's when the last racer exits transition for the run.
Okay.
So we don't know what time that'll be. We imagine that'll be close to 11 o'clock, maybe 10:30. That's when transition will open to get your stuff out. And again, make sure you walk your bike out of transition when you're leaving. Make sure you have your helmet on, and you can ride your bike as long as it's not on the race course, because the race could still be going on. and you don't wanna ride on the sidewalk where runners are running. But you're allowed to ride your bike out of transition if your helmet's on. Yes?
Just a quick question for like dressing for the weather. So they're gonna have body marks on their arm and on their leg.
Yes.
Do they both have to be visible at all times? Like, are they gonna be basically in t-shirts and shorts, or do they have a long sleeve and shorts as long as one of those numbers is showing?
We just need one of the numbers showing, so they can wear a long sleeve t-shirt, they can wear a jacket.
Okay.
Usually the kids are pretty hot,
Yeah.
because they're working pretty hard. So, yeah, even when it's like, I know I was the race director at the end of April for the St. Albert 10 miler, and the road race, and it was, I think, 3 degrees at the start, and the majority of athletes were in the short running shorts and tank tops. And that's at 3 degrees, because you are gonna warm up pretty quick. Now, you wanna keep all your warm clothes on while you're warming up before the race, and keep them on as long as you can before the swim starts. But then once you get going, you're gonna be hot, I think. It's good. Yes?
Sorry, that just reminded me, because I was just going to put her in like her, like, you know, this would be like a long sleeve swimsuit, like that zips up kind of thing, so is that not, like, appropriate or not recommended?
Like a wetsuit?
Not a wetsuit, but just like, you know, like a rash guard or like a sun guard, like a long sleeve swimsuit,
Yeah.
but the arms won't be able to show, so I was just thinking, do you not do that?
And you'll want her like racing in that?
Well, it's just a bathing suit, but it just zips up
Yeah.
like long sleeve, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, that's, you could, you're welcome to, yeah, as long as we can see the number on the leg.
Okay.
But yeah, that might be warm, whether, it might be okay for the swim, but the water temperature in the pool is, I believe it's 28 degrees, or 27 and a half degrees Celsius, which is not cool. Like Kinsman, they keep it 25.5. So I think Barometer's at 27.5. Just a little more.
One more quick question. Parking, it says you can park at the school. I imagine with 200 racers, that's a lot of vehicles. So like, what other parking options are around the school?
Yeah, so make sure you're not parking at all on the race route, the bike course, but there's lots of little side streets, and you can park in those side streets for sure. Yeah, the school, there is actually lots of parking, like some great spots are in the communities here, and then you hop on the pathway, and you get to the finish line like that. And that's an easy out, because if you park very close to the race route, and you want to get out, you're not going to be able to use the race route to get out too. So you want to give yourself an out, because they're going to keep this down. ATS is going to keep that race route closed down till 1 p.m. Unless they get the all clear. But just for safety, we don't want to open up the race route just to make sure. So there'll be delays there. And if you're leaving afterwards, you've got no problem. But some people want to jet out of here because they've got something else like a soccer game or a ballet exam or whatever. So then,
anything inside that bike route will be difficult to get out of?
Correct. Yeah, inside. But yeah, if you're on the outside, you can use some other outs. So like a good spot to park is kind of there, because that's a quick out to Grandin. So if you're out I don't know what that road is. But I'll get you to Grandin. I think it's Grosvenor Boulevard. It continues on there. Yes.
Sorry, just clarifying about transition. You said half an hour after the last racer, so like my 4-year-old can't grab this up till the 17-year-olds are done? Or after like her heat?
No, it's the transition will be closed until the racers are out of transition.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Sorry, just on that, is there a spot, do we have to bring all of our bikes, or can you drop your bikes here with one outlet and then go park somewhere else? Like, can we stop outside to drop our bike off to put them in transition?
It depends on what time. Like you probably, if you get here before 6, they're gonna close that road down at around 6:30. So you won't even be able to drive here.
Okay.
Yeah, you won't. Yeah. So if you want to do that, you'll have to be here before 6:30. But you won't allow to put your bike in until 6:30.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that makes
And that's
sense.
that's when like I said, I've got 4 kids, and and they were all racing, and, you know, I would come out and I would lay my bikes down. I would do that, but I'd come before and lay my bikes down, and then I'd go park.
Yeah.
I'd walk back, grab the bikes, and then come in. But the roads will be closed at 6:30.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
So coming into the race, right, we got our helmets on and walk our bikes, right?
If you're just walking your bike, you don't need to have your helmet on. It's only if you're riding your bike you have to have your helmet on. But once you get to transition, you can't ride your bike. So as soon as you enter transition, no bike riding allowed. You just have to walk your bike.
So in the beginning, you can just walk it out, like, does it really matter?
Sorry?
In the beginning, it doesn't really matter what you do, like, you can just walk it out?
You can walk it up. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I see there's a few racers I used to race with when I was doing the Kids of Steel here too, as parents now, which is great to see. So yeah, you with all the kids doing it here, when you guys grow up and have kids of yourself, they'll hopefully be doing this race. Hopefully it's still around. Yeah, so I'll stick around if there's any other questions. If you haven't picked up your packages, pickup starts at Cranky's in about 18 minutes. And they can check your bike out if you want. It's not mandatory. And check out your helmet. Yeah, thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna turn my phone off. So.
I'm looking at.